First, you'll assemble the side air diverter blades using these three parts, and for hardware, you'll need 6 L brackets, 12 3/4 inch 1032 screws, and 12 1032 nylock nuts. Put the first L bracket into place on the oval slot shown on the side blade and put the screw in from the opposite side. Then add the nylock nut and tighten with an 1/8 inch hex or Allen wrench and a 3/8 inch socket or wrench. Leave slightly loose. Attach the large air diverter piece to the installed L bracket with a screw and nylock nut, and make sure it is flush with the blade. This screw and nylock nut can be fully tightened until the head of the screw sinks into the plastic and is flush. Now attach the next L bracket in the oval slot in the middle of the side blade, leaving it slightly loose. Pull the large air diverter to the L bracket to attach the air diverter to the L bracket. Fully tighten this screw and nut that is attached to the large air diverter once it is flush with the blade. Be careful when bending all of the curved connection pieces to make sure you don't break them. Heating them with a hairdryer or a heat gun can make it easier, but don't overheat them. Next, attach the third L bracket to the large air diverter on the opposite side from the other 2 L brackets. Make sure L bracket is flush with the blade and fully tighten the screw and nut. Bend the large air diverter until the L bracket lines up with the oval slot on the blade and insert the screw and tighten the nut. Only fully tighten the screws connected to the blade once the large air diverter has all 3 L brackets attached. You can adjust the position of the large air diverter in the slots before tightening. The small air diverter can now be attached like shown. Best to attach all 3 L brackets to the side blade first and leave loose, then attach the small air diverter to the L brackets, bending the small air diverter to meet the L brackets and adding the screws and nuts. Fully tighten the screws and nuts on the small air diverter and adjust the small air diverter to be flush with the side blade edges before fully tightening the screws and nuts attached to the side blade. Repeat these assembly steps for the other side blade. Be sure to mirror the assembly since it is for the opposite side of the car. Now on to the center section. The large blade will be inserted into the far left large slot from the bottom side. Maneuver as shown to get into place. Once the large blade is in place, attach 2 L brackets to the large blade as shown. No screws will be put into the other L bracket holes until installed on the car. Next, insert one of the 2 medium blades into the second slot from the left like shown. Then attach 1 L bracket like shown. The small blade will now slide into the center slot like shown. Secure with L brackets, screws, and nuts like shown. Repeat the procedures for the remaining 2 blades. The 2 under blades on each side of the center section will now be installed in a similar manner to the air diverters on the side blades. As before, please take care when bending to not break the pieces and use heat if necessary. Install all L brackets, screws, and nuts as shown. For the installation of the diffuser, you may need to jack the vehicle up. Please research all precautions you need to take when jacking up the vehicle. Alternatively, you can back into an angled driveway and leave the front tires off the driveway, which will make the rear of the car angle up and possibly provide enough room. Make sure to engage the parking brake and put chocks in front of the tires to keep the car from rolling forward. First, remove the 2 stock 7mm screws in the center of the bumper underside. These will not be reused. Two small half-circle spacers will be used where shown. Will be easier to put in place when inserting the 2 silver screws in the next steps. Shown here so you can see placement easier. Next, the hooks on the ends of the large blades will be put into the hollow blades of the stock car bumper. You may need to do this at an angle, then raise up to clear the tops of the blades at the back of the car. You will now need to use the small half-circle spacers previously shown when inserting the 2 silver screws into the slots and spacers. Using a Phillips screwdriver, screw into the holes where the stock 7mm screws were removed from. The small half-circle spacers can be held in place by reaching under and holding them and lining up the spacer hole with the slot to get the screw in, then screwing the screws into the car. Sometimes there may be some difficulty in getting the screws lined up with the stock clip nuts on the car. Ensure the clip nuts are still in place if you have any problems. Before fully tightening these 2 screws, you can slide the diffuser in and out to get the gap from your car the way you want. Keep in mind the diffuser is not fully attached and can hang lower at the rear before fully installed. Try to hold the diffuser flat to the bottom of the blades on the car's bumper. Once you have the gap you want and the diffuser is straight, you can fully tighten the 2 silver screws. Be careful not to over-tighten the screws as you can strip out the stock clip nuts. They can handle a decent amount of torque, but within reason. The next screws to install will be on the left large blade. You will use 2 number 10 3/4 inch black screws and 2 number 8 3/4 inch black screws. Number 10 screws are fatter and will go in the L brackets and screw into the plastic on the bumper. The number 8 screws are thinner and will go into the small holes in the diffuser as shown. Do not over tighten. You can use a power tool to start the screws, but use a hand screwdriver to fully tighten the screws. If you over tighten, you can strip the plastic on the car. Make sure the diffuser sits flush to the blade on the bumper. Repeat this for the other attachment holes and screws for the other diffuser large blade. The cylindrical black 1/2 inch spacers and 1.25 inch long number 8 screws will now be used on the outer edges of the diffuser like shown. You can use a power tool to start the screws, but use a hand screwdriver to fully tighten the screws. If you over tighten, you can strip the plastic on the car. Next, you will use 2 of the screw locks, black plastic rectangles with a small hole, to further secure the screws in the cylindrical spacers. First, loosen the screw until the tip is barely sticking out of the plastic on the car. Be careful to not injure yourself on the sharp point. Then retighten the screw fully into the screw lock while making sure screw is touching the plastic on the car with no gap. Use a hand screwdriver for this and can use your other hand or wrench to hold the screw lock while tightening. Screw locks can handle a decent amount of torque, but be careful to not strip them out by over tightening. Repeat for the other side. The center section is now installed and you can now move on to the side blades. The side blades can easily be put in place by aligning the blade edge that faces towards the front of the car, closest to the tire, to the plastic edge on the car by the tire, and also aligning the inside edge of the blade with the inside edge of the plastic on the car. The blade can then be clamped or held in place by a helper so you can install the 5 number 10 3/4 inch black screws. Do not over tighten. You can use a power tool to start the screws, but use a hand screwdriver to fully tighten screws. If you over tighten, you can strip the plastic on the car. Make sure the side blades sit flush to the bottom of the rear rocker on the car. You will now do the same process with the rectangular black plastic screw locks on 2 of the screws for each side blade shown with the red circles. You can reach under the car to get to the sharp end of the screws, be careful to not injure yourself on the sharp points, and place the screw lock holes on the point after you had loosened the screws like previously shown, and then retightening the screws, being careful to not over tighten. Use a hand screwdriver for this. Repeat the side blade installation process for the other side and you are done.